All right, we had an exciting weekend of crazy things happening. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on here. We're going to look a little bit at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Ethereum. We'll check out the miners for a second, as well as the overall market for a little bit. We'll follow up on some plays that we've talked about in the past and see how they're doing. But before we get going, check out Capital Curiosities. They do financial fraud throughout history. This week, they came out with the billion-dollar fraud in small town America, the Adelphia Cable Company, and their con that they did, the fraud that they committed there. Very interesting stuff going on there. Go ahead and check them out. And if you find yourself at a Capital Curiosities video from here, comment TC there for me. That'd be very, very helpful. Let's get going. So we're looking at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, so as everyone knows, there was a strike on Iran over the weekend. Don't think anybody could miss that news. It happened. And we saw a dip down to 98,225 on Bitcoin. Okay, we also saw dips across the board on crypto. That was as that was trading over the weekend. All right. Well, you can see that we have since recovered to $101,000, so we are still holding over that $100,000 level. We just wicked beneath $100,000 and back up. That is not cause for concern, in my opinion. A wick down, not cause for concern. Now we are getting close to this double top here, right? So we have the top, boom. Middle point is about exactly where we are right now, about $101,000. All right, so we are kind of teetering on the edge of that double top. And if we lose that double top, we have slight support around 94,000 and then tough support down around like 80 to $83,000. So Bitcoin is still relatively holding strong. Ethereum, however, did break beneath here on Saturday and then on Sunday, right? Did break beneath my area here. So basically, this is my line right here. This is where I'm out for sure on Ethereum. Now, if we cannot in the next couple of days get back above the 200-day moving average, I want to see that happen in like another 2 days. Or if we close back beneath 2150 here, then I'll be cutting that trade. And waiting for Ethereum to decide that whether or not it wants to come back down to 1700 or go up to 4000. Okay, that's what I'm looking at there. And I'll be drawing this line right here for Ethereum. I might take a loss on Ethereum for short term, which I'm a little upset about, but that's okay. I'll draw this line right there. Boom. When you break that line to the upside, I'm ready to look for at least a move up to about 2600. Until then, yeah, we're watching very close. Solana, how'd Solana do? Solana, similar to Ethereum, it's tanking harder than Bitcoin. Dogecoin really suffered. If this were anything but like war-related news, I would have cut many of these trades as soon as it started happening. But look, Dogecoin bounced penny for penny off this previous low over here, so I'm not too concerned about that. I just want to see Dogecoin break this line here. I'll draw it. I want to see Dogecoin break this line right here, and then it's time for us to carry on our way up again into the 20s. So we'll see what happens there for that on Dogecoin. Look at the miners real quick. The miners, are we open yet? No, we are not open yet. Down in pre-market, 3% on 3.5% on CleanSpark, 2.5 on Mara, up 2.2% on Iron. I think Iron's got a deal. I think they got a deal brewing. They're the only one that's been up for days now. They got a deal. They got a deal brewing. Extended the warrants. CleanSpark warrants are up almost 10%. Right up down 3%. Bit Digital down 2.5%. Cypher down 2.9%. Cypher warrants down 13%. Core Z down 0.9%. Wolf down 3.2%. Hut down 2.99%. Hive down 0.5%. Bitdeer down 2.93%. MicroStrategy also down 1.64% there. And that's all the ones we're going to look at. Can is actually up 0.2%, but I don't really watch that one too carefully. All right. One other thing, AMD. AMD extended hours up 2% and NVIDIA down 0.68%. AMD has been going up while most other semiconductors have been going down. Okay, it's been going up while they've been going down. I made some money on this. I sold it. I should have held it. I'm looking for a re-entry on AMD because I really think AMD is likely to hit 150 here pretty soon because it is showing so much strength against NVIDIA, which has just been going sideways, kind of a slow grind up with a bit of a sideways move. Okay, I'm also looking at Soxol. All right, I'm also looking at Soxol. It is making a bull flag right now. Okay, I want to see Soxol either go up slightly above 2261, or I want to see it hit this white line, this white dash line, and then it's go time for Soxol. So I'm watching that very carefully as well. VRT, ACMR, they're not doing so much. They're kind of like floundering around. ACMR, I am in. I was really hoping it was going to do a nice bounce off of this line, but that's okay. I've got cash secured puts on this thing, so I'm not too concerned. I could always roll those if they don't go well. VRT, I think, is finding a top around this area. I think it wants to come back to the 21 moving average here. I'd really like to see it hit $100 again, but that might be a little too much of a dip at this point for that one. Tesla up 1.5% over the weekend. Their robotaxi event was kind of lackluster, so that was not having a huge impact on Tesla so far. Let's take a look at, before we go, let's have a look at SPY. All right, SPY. So we had this rising wedge for a while. Do I have it drawn on there? Yes, I kind of do. All right, let me get my other line out here. We had this rising wedge on here for a while. And it looks like this thing is breaking to the downside, right? Looks like it's breaking to the downside. So for SPY, I'm really, if it loses the 21-day moving average, which is this blue line here, we'll likely hit 589. If we can't hold 589, we're coming down to about 582 on that boy. And that'll be the 50-day. And that will be crucial. If we can't hold the 50-day, then we're coming down to the 200, around like 570-ish. Okay. If we can bounce off the 21, then we could potentially continue on to all-time highs. So watch that very, very carefully for that. CoreWeave has been just an absolute beast. I've been looking for entries over and over again. It keeps like trying to give me something and then not giving me anything. It's just, it cannot be stopped. It hits this line, it bounces, hits this line, it bounces, and just keeps going higher and higher and higher. At some point, it's going to stop. At some point, it's going to stop, and it's going to come back down minimum 140, possibly all the way to 96, maybe even all the way down to 67. Much like what CoreZ did, if you remember when it went parabolic, and I said, oh, it's going to come all the way back down to like $8. After being like parabolic for a while, like that was back here, right? When it was doing this parabolic move, I said, oh, it's going to come back here. And if it doesn't stop there, it's going to come all the way back down to this white line. And guess what it did? It came all the way back down to that white line. And now it's trying to go parabolic again. That's how I'm looking at CoreWeave. So I'm looking at CoreWeave to be very similar to CoreZ in that respect, where it's going to keep going up really, really aggressively until it doesn't anymore. And then it's going to come down. It's going to rest at this level for a second. Then it's going to come down and rest at 100 for a second. And then it's going to potentially come all the way back down to 67 before giving us the next parabolic move. So I'm watching that really carefully. I'm watching this line. Every time it bounces off this line, I get into a real short position, not going short, but like a short-term position, bullish short-term position, where I make a couple $100 and then I cut it off before I get scared. and then I wait for it to hit that line again. At some point, that's going to burn me. At some point, I am going to eat a stop loss doing that. That's inevitable, but that's just how I've been doing it. It hits the white line, I do like a cash secured put or a call, and I let it go up, and then I cut it off before the end of the day, and I wait to see what the next day brings on CoreWeave, because that one is moving frighteningly fast to the upside. So I think that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio. Don't sleep on Capital Curiosities. They got some very interesting videos there. Check out our memberships page and have a profitable day.